Hey guys. A few months ago, all of the internet was excited to see that DC Comics was going to take its Batgirl title into a new artistic direction. And honestly, I was just as excited as everyone else was. I make it no secret that my biggest complaint about the DC reboot of 2011 is how almost nothing coming from it actually reads like a reboot. How can you call these comics a reboot when nearly all of them are still playing off of the last several decades of the old continuity? Of course, it goes without saying that the one thing that irked me the most about the Batgirl comics is how she's no longer bound to a wheelchair after the Joker paralyzed her in the 1980s, and the cure for her paralysis is never explained. Batgirl number 1 opens with Barbara Gordon just tossed into her costume. She tells us that she was indeed paralyzed, but she never talks about how she actually got her legs working again. I'm sorry, but when you have a character who's immobilized like this for nearly 30 years, I think the details of how she got out of the wheelchair might be something worth talking about. So when the cover for Batgirl 35 hit the internet, it actually piqued my interest a little bit. After their first couple of issues of Action Comics, they took a little break from the main story so they could tell a little bit about Superman's backstory in Action Comics number 5, and it looked to me like they might be doing the same thing with Batgirl 35, and give her a proper backstory, and, ergo, a legitimate reboot. She's obviously a lot younger than the Batgirl we've seen in the last 34 issues. She looks like she made her costume out of whatever she could find instead of spending thousands of dollars on Kevlar body armor. Said costume is primarily purple, suggesting that she hasn't yet learned that black is the best color to utilize when you're trying to be stealthy like the Batman. And her posing for a selfie in a restroom full of other girls makes her look appropriately naive like her young age would suggest, giving her room to grow as a character while she figures out how to properly play the superhero game. Our comic opens with Barbara Gordon moving into a new apartment, and there's no indication of when this is supposed to be taking place. Okay, normally the abundance of timestamps in a New 52 comic only makes things unnecessarily convoluted, but if this comic is supposed to be taking place in the past, shouldn't the comic just up and say so? Anyway, she gets herself all moved in, and apparently she's able to do so in less than a day, and she still has enough energy to party hard into the night and wake up into the next day at 2:36 p.m. with a hangover. And it seems like she was spending a good chunk of that party making out with some guy she can't even remember. Because when you're trying to reach out to the ever-growing demographic of young girls who might be interested in trying out comic books, it's important to show them that getting totally sloshed and doing random guys is totally okay. Batgirl's a role model! After some exposition of how a handful of cell phones have been stolen from various party guests, including this guy, whom we're never going to see again, Barbara walks down to the local coffee shop, catching up on her emails with her cell phone on the way. Any reason why her cell phone wasn't stolen too? She places an order for her and her friends, when one of the other customers finds his tablet has gone missing. Barbara then remembers seeing someone else walk out with a tablet, which she somehow remembers despite being completely focused on her cell phone as she walks past him, and she runs off after him in pursuit. Catch up, Gordon, catch up! What's the quickest route? Chase after him? He's only 20 feet away. No, it would seem that the fastest route would be to climb up a fire escape, which she is able to deduce because I guess she became a master builder somehow.
So, didn't catch your name.
She runs across a couple of rooftops, and this somehow lets her catch up to the thief. I'm sorry, but wasn't the whole point of her getting coffee to compensate for how not ready she was to face the day? How is she doing all of this? Hand over the bag and I'll go easy on you. For real? I'm supposed to be scared of you? What are you, like 14? I'm legal, loser! You know, it's bad enough that we live in a world where young teenage girls can be easily mistaken for women of legal age. Let's take a 20-something-year-old woman and make her easily mistakable for 14. That'll make it better. Yes, despite the artwork making her look a lot younger than she's supposed to be, apparently Barbara is just as old as she was before, meaning that this is not an actual reboot like I was hoping for, but a continuation of the previous story. Normally I wouldn't mind that, but I wasn't expecting a continuation with a cover depicting a Batgirl as wildly different from what we've seen before. Look at her! This Batgirl isn't the same Batgirl who has years of crime fighting under her belt. What's the point of taking this adult woman with years of experience behind her and making her look this young? Hell, she didn't even look this young in Batgirl number 0, which was happening before she became Batgirl. Anyway, she goes back to her apartment, without showing us that she got her coffee or that she gave the tablet back to its owner, so I guess that whole scene was kind of pointless, where she finds Black Canary screaming into her cell phone. Great, You know a phone that can stand up to a canary cry? What, you have to whip out the canary cry every time someone on the phone is annoying you? You need to chill out, girl. She tells Barbara that her apartment is burned down, and that she's lost everything. And instead of consoling her, or immediately going up to her new roomies to ask if Canary can crash with them for a while, all Barbara can do is complain about how all of her Batgirl gear is now gone too, since she was keeping it in Canary's storage space without her knowledge or consent. Our heroine, ladies and gentlemen. Luckily for the both of them, Barbara's van was also caught in the fire, and they think they might learn of how the fire got started since the van was rigged with cameras that automatically upload footage to her laptop every 20 minutes. Unluckily for the both of them, apparently her laptop has gone missing along with everyone else's cell phones. Barbara taps into her master builder powers again, which she can do, I guess, despite fighting off a nasty hangover and without the aid of coffee or other stimulants, and she's able to piece together a complete reconstruction of the night before. So then, what was the point of introducing us to this character that she can't remember if her memory is supposed to be that good? After talking to some of the other party guests, Barbara learns of some guy they both met from some online dating site, and she figures that he must be the one taking all their electronics. She sets up a dating profile for herself, and in the midst of making her new Batgirl costume, the very first email that she gets on her dating profile just happens to be from the same guy who was at the party last night. Yeah, because it's not like a hot, barely legal-looking young girl like this isn't going to have her inbox flooded with emails, right? He immediately proposes that they get together, and Barbara immediately agrees to it. Little red flag going up here, fella. Shouldn't a hot girl like this who immediately wants to hook up instead of casually chatting for a bit be a little bit suspicious? Barbara texts him that something came up and she has to bail, and then Batgirl shows up instead. And yes, this is a good look for a superhero outfit, and I'm admittedly a sucker for the retro 60s thing she's got going on. But again, this just isn't the same Batgirl we've been following this whole time. This looks like some random girl doing a little cosplay. Okay, so they established earlier that Barbara's checkbook isn't what it could be, so it makes sense that she can't afford anything more suitable for stealth or combat than this, but how hard would it be to give Batman a call and ask if he has anything she could borrow for the time being? It's easy to assume that she got her original costume from him anyway, so why wouldn't he have spare costumes lying around? He does keep himself prepared for any eventuality, so why wouldn't he have a bunch of Batgirl suits on standby? Anyway, she beats the guy up, and he tells her that he's giving the electronics to a guy named Riot Black, who's known for stealing personal information and posting all of it online. She memorizes all of the guy's personal information before wiping the phone clean, and yet she apparently forgot how her freaking legs work. And she gives it back to him to give back to the boss. She finds this Riot Black guy, who's in the midst of throwing a rave to celebrate how his website is back online, despite the army of protesters outside who successfully sued to have it taken down. If they sued this guy to take down his website and won, only to find out that it's immediately back online, what is this guy still doing running around free? Why isn't he being arrested for theft, invasion of privacy, and ignoring court orders? It's not like he's even hiding out or anything. He's screaming out to the entire world that he's back in operation. And because it wasn't enough to make him a giant flaming douchebag who has no greater aspirations than being an internet troll, seriously, he doesn't even try to use this personal information for blackmailing or anything. He's just posting it for kicks. They decided to make him speak in hashtags for some reason. Take it off and get grabby, hashtag angels. Somebody out there, please tell me that this sounds as stupid to you as it does to me. Are people actually talking like that now? Batgirl crashes the party, again showing no regard for the safety of the party guests like we see in Batgirl number 14, and she confronts Black. I have evidence that you've illegally obtained private data, Black. How much more evidence do you need? You've got dozens of people outside saying that he stole their information. After some hashtag-laden banter and a blurred-out double deuce, because you can say the word bitch in a comic that's rated teen, but flipping the bird is just obscene, they fight for a bit, and eventually make their way into the restroom. Check it out! Cybernetic flash memory implants. Part of my brain, yo! I can review whenever and forever. It's part of me. Ain't nothing you can do except kill me. Or she can just knock you out and keep you sedated until Superman shows up so he can destroy your little computer implants with his heat vision, and the Martian Manhunter shows up so he can wipe out the data that you've collected. Actually, Batgirl suggests a trade. The deletion for all of the data he has for a picture of her without her mask. He agrees if she'll send him the pic first, but she actually sends him a QR code which triggers a worm she implanted in that cell phone earlier, which is now deleting all of his information. Yeah, that's kind of clever and all, but how does this stop him from just doing it again? And why would this even work? Wouldn't this guy have all kinds of firewalls and antivirus protection installed in his head? Wait a minute, how could she even program that worm in the first place if she doesn't have a computer? So Batgirl wins the day, but sadly all of the data on her laptop is completely gone. Black Canary is still pissed off from her home being burned down, and Barbara apologizes since she thinks it might have been something from her van that started the fire when Riot Black was hacking into her systems. Now Black Canary really hates her, and suddenly I can't help but notice how much these two look like Anna and Elsa from the movie Frozen. Dear God, I hope that wasn't intentional. So that was Batgirl number 35, or as I like to call it, Teen Pandering, the comic book. I can appreciate this comic wanting to reach out to teenage girls who might otherwise have no interest in reading comic books, but this is just sad. Never mind how Batgirl's built herself up as an incredibly competent crime fighter who's had to fight off deadly assassins, mass-murdering clowns, slime monsters, and even freaking Jigsaw. Let's make her a ditzy little girl who likes to get drunk, make out with boys she doesn't know or have any interest in knowing, and fight internet trolls amidst a sea of social media buzzwords. Bit of a step backwards is all I'm saying. All I can do is just hope that DC will make Batgirl an adult again, but until that happens, hashtag I'm not reading this crap anymore.
Hashtag, Facebook. Is this working?
Yes!
Yay!
Subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, watch more.